Welcome to episode 6 of Beef Brothers. This video will be on YouTube and in podcast format on your listening app of choice. Let's say g'day to the iconic duo of 1989 NBA champion and 18-year veteran Rick Mahorn and 1982 all-rookie first-teamer and a two-time NBA All-Star Jeff Ruland. How are we this evening, gentlemen?
I'm good because I'm sitting up here listening to Jeff with the two-time rookie NBA, man.
Motherfucker.
Hey, if it wasn't for me, you wouldn't even have them fucking awards.
Back, Herschel, carry your ass.
Oh, please.
Shout out to the guy that took the videos down off our channel, by the way. Thank you. We appreciate that.
You know, that doesn't stop the world. We keep it going. Rules. Hey, next time, just get your VCR out, put it back here on TV, and we can watch it.
Appreciate it.
Our episodes begin with a discussion of today's NBA. We'll cover the latest news and then hear Rick's and Jeff's opinions. Then I'll turn back the clock as they reminisce about their lives in basketball. Today, we hope to learn about their favourite documentaries, sporting or otherwise, and then finish with some listener-submitted questions and comments. As we record this, it is the evening of May the 17th in the USA. Since our last episode, the playoffs have now progressed to the conference finals. Today, Miami visit Boston for Game 1 of their series, and out west, Denver has a 1-0 lead in their matchup with the LA Lakers.
Was nil.
What's new?
Was nil.
0.
1-0, 0.
Is that some Australian word? I thought it was 1-zip.
1-zip, okay. Denver has a 1-zip lead over the LA Lakers. How about that?
Herschel, white boy.
Just before we discuss those stories, yesterday obviously was a huge day, literally and figuratively, for the San Antonio franchise. They won the draft lottery. It's a near lock that they're going to pick Victor Wembanyama with the number 1 selection. Now, Rick, your Pistons had the worst record in the league and were tied for the highest chance to get that number 1 selection, but ultimately fell to 5th place. What are your thoughts on the result of the lottery and going forwards, how that sort of shakes out for the Pistons?
It was rigged. No, let me stop. That's why they call it the lottery. I mean, if we could all know the numbers, whatever comes out for these lotteries they have all over the country, we'd be billionaires, and we don't even have to talk about a podcast. But hey, this is the luck of the draw with the worst record. Still only got 14.2 percentage points of women the number 1 pick. We were fortunate to win it a couple of years ago with Cade Cunningham, and we have Ivy as well up there in the lottery picks. One thing about, to me, when it comes to the lottery, does San Antonio with Wembanyama, will that make them a playoff team, a credible team? Yeah, I mean, they had Tim Duncan, they had David Robinson. It doesn't change your complexion. Yeah, a little bit. But my thing is when you're the Detroit Pistons or any other team, back in the day when the draft was out, when Jeff and I were there, it's a need. You know, it's what you need and not what, everybody hopes that you get. Because then you got to figure if you do get Wembanyama, next thing you know, what are you going to do with Isaiah Stewart? Or, the big guys, Bagley, guys that are on the team, that Wiseman. Then all of a sudden, it's like you have a backlog of bigs. So sometimes, it's a gift and a curse. And I'm like, okay, hopefully San Antonio can do something with it.
Jeff, what are your takeaways from what you saw of the lottery and where certain teams positioned for their selections?
I think Detroit's cursed because they don't have my man in a higher position than he's in right now. Number 1. Victor, I think, is a unicorn. I think he can fit in anywhere. I read a great article. I'm sorry, I don't know who wrote it. ESPN yesterday. I mean, this kid's dad was a track star. This kid's been learning how to run with his size. If he can stay healthy, man, he's going to be something to watch.
When you say that, Jeff, I look at Porzingis. You and I played, we size up people. For me to be a defensive player, I know the NBA has gotten away from the physicality, but when you watch the playoffs, that's what's been going on.
Right.
To me, it's like Anthony Davis is one of those guys that he's not big enough to play that big center or that big guy. Giannis is a guy that runs with force, but they got Lopez matched with him. It's kind of like a give and take if you can open up the court and let this big man work. If he matches up against Joel Embiid or even Rudy Gobert, these things that you look at, yeah, he could be a generational talent. But when you look at it, is it a guy that you can say, okay, I'm going to drop the ball down on the box and let him go to work?
But he's definitely more skilled than Porzingis. I mean, his handle, I don't know if you watch some of these videos. I mean, it's going drills since God knows when. I think he plays with it a little too much at times, but he's more of a presence and defensively than Porzingis has ever been.
And I understand that because Anthony Davis watching him last night against Denver, he can't be everywhere.
And he needs someone like you or me next to him. There's no question. I like the fact that they're going to San Antonio. The kid kind of had a breakout season this year, who was hurt originally. The big white kid, is it? He was originally in Sacramento, I think. He's with San Antonio. Come on, Adam, help me out.
You're the historian.
Pull up the roster, damn it.
I'll bring up their roster, but I'm blanking at the moment. Let me have a look.
What's the guy in OKC that got hurt this year?
Chet Holmgren.
Chet Holmgren. It's the same way. Okay, so don't get me wrong. Wemby, he's playing against, we both played overseas. I don't discount this young man is going to do well. It's going to have to be a point where, everybody's coming at him.
Yeah, but the rules in the regular season, he's going to be all right. It's always a worry. I mean, people don't realize how freaking good Ralph Sampson was.
Oh, you talking right there. Bill Walton. Bill Walton was a beast. And you look around, Sampson was a beast. He could have shot the three back then. He could shoot. When I look at Wemby, I think he's, to me, comparable to a Ralph Sampson, a guy that can change your whole institution. One thing about it, if you don't stay healthy, then it's like, oh, what happened?
You should read that article. It's interesting with his dad and the time that they spent in the programs.
This is what I look at. You could do all the damn drills in the world, and you could look good in every damn drill. But when the popcorn start popping, you ain't showing up with that damn same skill. Ain't nobody going to sit there and look at you.
And him how to run correctly, which is a problem for big guys, some big guys. This dude is still growing.
The great Manute Bol couldn't run straight. His feet was all crooked and twisted. Come on, Ruzy.
Manute was 75 when he got to the NBA.
You all scientific, the game and blah, blah. Man, I can tell you, I saw a dude with a short leg and a short arm and tear your ass up. Look at his son, Bol.
Mm-hmm.
Bol is 7'5" or 6. He's so long and athletic. But,
he's not Chuck Nevitt.
Chuck Nevitt, that's a good drop.
I played with Chuck Cheese.
I know, that's why I said that.
Chuck Cheese was so funny, man. He missed his calling. He should have been a comedian, a 7'5" comedian. We used to try to take turns to dunk on him, man. I love some Chuck Cheese, man. Leave Chuck Cheese alone, man.
Tell you what, we've got some great references already. Manute Bol and Chuck Nevitt, which I didn't expect to hear, which is awesome. Now, Rules, were you talking about Charles Bassey? Is that his name? The guy from Spurs or not?
Zager. He came out after his freshman year. He's been in the league 5 or 6 years.
Oh, okay, I'm just looking at the Spurs roster now just to try. Oh, okay, Zach Collins.
There you go, Zach Collins.
How come you can't remember the white guys? There's only 2 of them in the league.
All the guys look the same, man, fuckers.
There's only 2 or 3 in the league. You forget all the white guys, but the black guys.
At least we thought a token white like Bill Garnett.
Who?
We played Dallas when we were in the Bullets, and there was a guy, Bill Garnett, drafted 6.
Oh, the first round pick?
Called him a token white player, giving him 35.
So well.
You've got a history with him too, Jeff. There's a incident that I hope to be able to at least put up on your channel where you had a run-in with him.
Yeah, well, like I said, the NBA distorted that. You can't, for some reason, just can't get a correct copy of it. Yeah, he gave me a forearm shiver off the ball, the bastard.
Hold on.
Cheap shot.
Hey, Adam, hold on. I hear you.
Violin,
Need some tissue, you crying ass, soft. Come on. I want to give you a hug. Come on. I give you a hug
right now.
I'd hit you so hard.
Oh, geez. It's been a great episode thus far, guys. Just in other news, aside from the lottery, Morant was unfortunately shown to be brandishing a gun again on social media for the second time in almost as many months. Doesn't look like he's learnt too much from that first suspension. In response, the Grizzlies have suspended him from all team-related activities, and the NBA Commissioner, Adam Silver, is sure to drop the hammer, I'd assume, any day now on this latest indiscretion. Where to from here for Ja and the Grizzlies, do you think?
I hear from everybody, from Stephen A., all of the basketball people around. Yeah, it's going to be a suspension. And sometimes you have to take something away in order to get that person in the right frame of mind. We all have issues mentally. We're dealing with the COVID and all this stuff. All of a sudden, mental health is real. I don't live in this house. I don't know. I'm not in the locker room. But when I look at this, as I look at my own kids, be correct. Play with respect. But the NBA is something that's a gift and a privilege to play in. All of a sudden, they can snatch it away from you. We look at the Gilbert Arenas situation when they were flashing guns with the Wizards at that time. But then nobody, Crittenton later on is in jail for murder. These things start to be a bowling ball effect. And you have to try to surround yourself with people like LeBron, with his boys. You don't hear a peep out of LeBron. I respect his approach in the NBA because it's a business. It's a privilege, but it's a business. And I'm going to have people around me that's going to have the respect of what I'm doing in order for them to make money. Because one thing I know, if you find some leeches and I don't know these guys and I'm not judging them, when you go to the NBA, it's a different animal. They're more scrutinized. It's not like we're going to slap you on the wrist. And I think Adam Silver tried that, and hopefully it just didn't work, because we are, much as people don't want to know, we are role models. As soon as the headline come out, Jeff Ruland, Rick Mahorn, that's front page.
What do you think, Jeff, about the whole scenario? I think he got an 8-game suspension first time around.
Talk about taking things away. I was a pretty good player. I had it taken away when I was 28. So it is a friggin' privilege. It just confuses me. His buddy riding in the car now, okay? He did something with a laser in one of the games. So right after that...
It's assumed. It's assumed.
After that, I'm his pops. I'm like, yo, my man's not hanging out anymore with you. Then he's with him in Denver. And then he's in the car with him. And like, if you're this dude's friends, why are you filming this live? I mean, he grew up with 2 parents. He didn't grow up in the hood. I know I used to get my ass kicked when I was little in the hood. I couldn't wait to get out of that. Generational money for your family. I mean, such an extreme talent, extreme case of immaturity. And
the thing is, we look at the way America is right now, too much gun violence that we see, but you have the right to bear arms. And the fact of the matter is that, I have a CCW, but is it something where I'm going to go show somebody, pull up myself and say, look what I got? No. Mine is for the protection of not only myself, but my family as well, if something does go down. I mean, we done seen professional athletes in this league shoot themselves with the gun in it. I forgot the football player, but he shot himself. I'm sitting there like, why?
Make no sense.
Seems to be definitely putting his career and livelihood of him and his family at severe risk. So we'll see what comes of that. Let's chat about the current day playoffs. The Nuggets held off a furious fourth quarter rally by the Lakers in Game 1 of the finals yesterday in the West. Nikola Jokic had a game for the ages, 34 points, 21 rebounds and 14 assists. And Jamal Murray had 31 points of his own. For the Lakers, Anthony Davis had a 40-point, 10-rebound effort, and LeBron was 1 assist shy of a 26-point triple-double. We've got Austin Reeves with 23 points and Rui Hachimura.
Hachimura. You got it.
Yeah, got his pronunciation okay. All right. Had 17 points in the 6-point loss for the Lakers. What are your takeaways following Game 1 and what do you think might shake out as the series progresses, guys?
I'm rooting for Darvin Ham because he's a champion from here and he's also from Michigan. I like his style. The start of the game was the downfall for the Lakers. They didn't come with that energy. But then again, they've been battling uphill being that team that had to play the playing game, and they're there. But it's just Game 1. And the fact of the matter that they had that ended the game strong. What was funny to me is that they had Hachimura checking the Joker and had Anthony Davis, the rover. So it's all about adjustments every game in the playoffs. The Nuggets started the game off well, but it's now who starts the game is who finishes the game that I worry about. And I think the Lakers had that momentum. If they would have hit that three, LeBron would have hit the three, we would be probably talking overtime up there in the Mile High.
I don't know what Horn's view is, but I got to tell you, I hated playing in Denver and Utah with that fucking altitude, man.
Why? We were there for the Olympic tryouts. What am I missing?
Couldn't catch my breath. It's fucking like
That's
running
because
up
you smoke too much.
on there.
There you go. Stop smoking.
I didn't back then, motherfucker.
How you know you smoking a funny cigarette?
Just had one a little while ago, but didn't expect them to come back like that. It'll be interesting. Game of adjustments, there's no question.
You know, Adam and I have been in the playoffs, been to the finals and all that stuff. The thing is, you find different angles. And I thought when Darvin Ham, like I said, when he went with Rudy Algemiro checking the Joker and then having the Anthony Davis as the rover to make sure he knew where he was, those are the things that you're going to look at, the adjustments going down the stretch. Also, you might see Darvin Ham change his lineup, not start 3 guards and just go back with Vanderbilt in there. Because to me, with the bench the Lakers have, I thought the Lakers bench played well. And when you look at Denver, you know, Bruce Brown had one of these out of his mind games. You know, he's a guy that he's just going to outwork you. Him and KCP are those guys. Don't have a lot of offensive talent, but when they do get scoring, that's what they look at. So, but I want to get on this Philadelphia one where we saw, you know, the final with Boston and Philadelphia. For me, the take that I get from there is like, whoa, what the hell happened with game 6? You didn't know that you were home trying to advance to get to the finals. We talk maturity. I think if you're Joel Embiid, you're the leader of that team. I don't like when players, you know, blame it on their other teammates. I did my job. Hell, everybody's got to do their job as a unit. That's why Doc Rivers doesn't have a job now, because you look at the players, the first person to go is the coach.
When Tatum made that 3 and he pushed off, I couldn't believe that wasn't an offensive foul, but Rick makes some great points. I mean, I cringe when I see Game 7 and then after the game, Embiid saying, you know, it's only me and James. I mean, when they got back from the airport, the other guys on the team went and put a fucking ice pick in his fucking tires.
You know, I done played with some of the greats. Other than you, I played with Barkley, I played with Isiah. When you lose, you take responsibility. And that's the maturity that you have as a player moving forward. It's just me and James. Shit, if there was just you and James, then if I'm one of those players that, well, then, okay, here's the ball. Go ahead. It's y'all two. Y'all go ahead and do what you don't need us.
Tim and James on Game 7, shit the bed. 3 for 15. I mean, come on. I mean, they both have a reputation now that they can't get it done in the playoffs. They both have to shake that as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, you could be MVP one day, but then you could be the most valuable loser the second.
Playoffs are a whole different animal. You know that.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Perfectly said there, guys. I appreciate your insights as always. Now, the Heat and Celtics tip off in Game 1 of the East Finals momentarily. How do you see today's game and maybe just the series in general shaking out, given Miami number 8 seed, now playing the number 2 seed Celtics?
Go for it, Jeff.
You would look at it and say, well, Boston should just, you know, mop the floor with these guys. But the mentality and the togetherness that Miami has, and the one thing that really that's worried me the last 2 years with Boston is when it gets down to the last 5 minutes in the fourth quarter and the ball's in Marcus's hand. As much as I love him, he does not make good decisions. That's why they lost last year, a couple games in the final and in the playoffs. I don't know. Is that going to come back to haunt him? I don't know. I to be on the court at the end, the ball should not be in his hands, though. I'm sorry.
When I look at the Boston-Miami series, I see Miami doesn't have anything to lose. That's the bad part of it. The bad part is for Boston to come prepared, to understand that, hey, just because you're playing home doesn't mean that you can win. I'll tell you, that damn Miami plays gritty, nasty team basketball. And that's called a team. They play it all across the board. They don't blame nobody. They lose a game. Oh, it's on me. Or Kyle Lowry, it's on me that I need to pick my game up. They're not individuals. They play as a unit. Lowry coming off the bench, he's a future Hall of Famer. I think his grit the way that he sets the tone with himself coming off the bench. Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo, and then now you got Strus. You got 9 guys on that team, and they didn't get drafted. That's hungry.
What's great about them also, everybody on that team knows their role.
Exactly.
And you know what? They're better without Tyler Herro. I would trade his ass and get some more athletes.
No, I think now when you say that, Jeff, sometimes when you look at it, Tyler Herro is a flat-out shooter. He's really been consistent this year. He's part of that team. One thing that I like about the Erik Spoelstra coach team, they got all these names that they give these teams, or the Miami Heat way or the San Antonio way. This is how we approach. One thing about Erik Spoelstra, you look at a guy like Duncan Robinson, who didn't even play, and all of a sudden his numbers call. That's called being professional. And that's what you have to be in the Miami Heat uniform, is be professional. Look, Adonis Haslam's been there since his career. If he ever gets in the game, well, I'm balling out. That's what I like about everybody looks at each other and they're responsible for each other.
They've got that next man out attitude. Next guy up, man. Next guy up.
Anything else you'd like to further discuss about the 2023 playoffs before we delve into a bit of basketball history?
Phoenix Suns. It seems like 2 teams that just got routed out of the playoffs. All of a sudden, that coach leaves. But I think Matt Ishbia, the governor of that team, he's coming in. Nobody's safe. Changing of the guard. He's got the right to do whatever he wants to. I think Monty Williams is a great coach. I think he's going to get picked up somewhere. But, I mean, it's unfortunate in this business. I learned from Chuck Daly. What have you done for me lately? That's all I got for the playoffs.
In advance of chatting today, I suggested how about we look at discussing your favorite documentary, either a sporting one or otherwise.
So where did that come from?
Well, one of the listener questions is to do with The Last Dance. So I thought, why not perhaps lead in with a question about documentaries? Do you have a favorite?
For me, in a documentary is more of the nature side. I wouldn't look at The Last Dance. That's 10 hours I can never get back in my life. I wish I would watch that damn Last Dance. I couldn't give a damn about that shit. I got 10 hours to do something else. My thing is to learn about what the earth or animals or different things that, that's going to affect something later on in life. So
watch, it's on Netflix. It's called Seaspiracy or something.
You can always text me, Jeff. I like watching that. You always watching The Real Housewives.
You know how they say that the plastic in the ocean is from the straws? It's 1%. 48% of all plastic in the ocean is from fishing nets. You see on the cans of tuna, there's warnings, okay? That, we didn't kill any dolphins. Well, the companies that are actually killing dolphins, all they're doing is paying $200,000 and they're getting that put on their cans. So it's a bullshit thing. And then it goes even further. They've got all these fishing vessels with all out in the South China Seas and everything. They got people that are slaves. And if they complain, they shoot them in the head and they throw them off the friggin' boat. If you watch this thing, I don't know if I can eat another piece of fish ever. It's insane what we're doing to the ocean.
Well, it's insane what we're doing to the earth, period. It's not even the ocean. I look at those documentaries to inform myself.
It's Seaspiracy. It's really deep, man.
So you watched that after you watched The Real Housewives of New Jersey?
I don't watch any of that. Thank you very much. No, I got better things to do in my life. You're a big Andy Cohen fan. Actually, Adam looks a little like Andy Cohen.
Hey, look, let's go to the next one, man, because it's about to be a roast on you, Adam.
I know. I'm worried. I'm very worried. Let's have a look at some listener questions and comments just before we round things out. I'm quite concerned. Now, the first one here is from Jay from here in Australia. He sent me an email. At the end of each episode, I mentioned my email address. He's emailed through a question for you, Horn. He says, I'd love to hear Rick's perspective on Isiah Thomas. The guy was a phenom from his rookie season on, but I feel his image is tainted, particularly following his portrayal in The Last Dance. Would love to hear what a teammate like Rick has to say about what kind of player and person Isiah really is like to be around.
Hey, Jay, I've played against Isiah. I've played with Isiah, and then I played against him again. He's a competitor. I didn't watch The Last Dance because I can give a damn about that shit. But I just think, he didn't get his just due. He should have been on the Olympic team. For me, he's a good person, even though he tried to slap me. It would be that I'm watching him. But the fact of the matter, that's when we're playing a game. Jeff and I would go at it as well. But after the 48 minutes, it was like, let's go get something to eat. That's what basketball is. It's a competitive side and it's a friendship side. He's a friend. He always will be a friend. And so that's why I wouldn't watch that damn documentary if you paid me to do it. But if you pay $2 million, I'll watch it. Jay, come on, Jay.
Jay, the ball's in your court. Jeff, for yourself, from a guy called Radio Gunk on the Beef Brothers YouTube channel. He references the matchups that you had in the early to mid-1980s with the New Jersey Nets, guys like Darryl, Dawkins and Buck Williams. And he says that he's heard that when you went up against those guys, you and Horn, he says it was like a gang fight at the Smith Haven Mall in 1976. I'm not actually sure what that actual reference is, but what do you say about those battles that you guys endured in the early to mid-80s with guys like Buck Williams and Chocolate Thunder?
I used to actually go to the Smith Haven Mall and sit and make fun of people back in it. They were a really good team. We beat them in my rookie year in the playoffs. Buck was a hell of a player. I loved Darryl. He was a physical specimen, that dude, man. If he knew how to play the game of basketball, he would have rewrote the record books with Michael Ray and Ray Williams and Albert King and Jaminsky with his ass on the bench and Lenny Elmore. Yeah.
Otis Birdsong.
Arwing Cook. Rick and Buck almost went at it a few times.
Excuse my French, Buck.
Is there anything further to that?
Darryl Dawkins, I miss him dearly. Played with him with Pistons when we won the championship. He didn't last a year because he always had hot sauce. And he was getting his grub on. I miss him. He was a competitor. Chocolate Thunder, but I don't even give a shit about Buck Williams. Anyway, next.
Is there a history you'd like to go into?
Not a fan. Fuck Buck.
Okay. Understood. We'll leave it there for the moment. Game 1's almost ready to tip off for the Boston series, so we'd love your interaction with the show. If you're watching on YouTube, please do ask a question or add a comment below, and Rick and Jeff can respond in future episodes. Podcast listeners can email the show. Just contact me in all airness at gmail.com. I'll collate your submissions for the next episode, and you can also reach out via Instagram. Rick is Rick Mahorn 44 official. Jeff is Ruland Jeff, just one word. Thanks as always for your time today, guys. It's been a pleasure, and I look forward to when we can record another episode again soon.
All right, man. I like that hat you got on this time. Next time, let's see that ball.
Tell me, or
it must be getting cold down under.
It is getting cold.
It's getting cold down under. Hey, Jeff, have a nice evening.
like I said, I hope to see you in person in August.
Well, I don't like yours anyway, so bye.
As my friend J.B. Bonner would say, eat shit and die.